Today, we're going to dive into one of the most consequential decisions in modern history. It's a story that actually begins not with a president or a general, but with a cook, and it ends with a weapon that would change our world forever. So let's set the scene. It's a seemingly ordinary morning, just after sunrise. Doris Miller, an African-American cook in the U.S. Navy, is doing his rounds, serving breakfast, collecting laundry on a battleship. You know, just another routine day in paradise. But then, at 7:57 a.m., that routine is absolutely shattered. A siren starts blaring, the one no one in the service ever wants to hear. Miller rushes outside, and he's just stunned. The sky is swarming with Japanese bomber aircraft. In an instant, the world was about to change. This surprise from the sky, this was the moment that dragged a reluctant America right into the Second World War. And it set the country on a path to unleashing a destructive power the world had never, ever seen before. Before anyone could really react, it was just chaos. Japanese planes were swarming the harbor, methodically tearing the American fleet to pieces. Pearl Harbor, which was supposed to be America's fortress in the Pacific, was caught completely off guard, facing this devastating and meticulously planned assault. So, this begs two huge questions, right? First, why on earth did Japan take the monumental risk of attacking the United States, a neutral giant? And second, what led America to end the war with the most terrifying weapon ever created? Well, that's what we're here to break down. To really understand the attack, we need to rewind a bit. This wasn't some random act of aggression. It was the boiling point of rising tensions, desperate gambles, and a serious clash of empires. Okay, so here's the core problem for Japan. As an island nation, it lacked vital natural resources. So to fuel its growing empire, it had already invaded its neighbors and was now eyeing the resource-rich colonies in Southeast Asia. This put it on a direct collision course with the West, especially since Japan was allied with America's big foe, Hitler. And here's the kicker: Japan's critical vulnerability. A staggering 80% of its oil came from one single source, the United States. America basically held the keys to Japan's entire war machine, and in July 1941, it decided to turn that key. So, in response to Japan's aggression, America just cut off the oil supply. The ultimatum was pretty simple: get your troops out of China, and then, only then, will we turn the taps back on. For Japan, this was an impossible choice. I mean, backing down meant total humiliation, but without oil, their military would just grind to a halt. They were completely cornered. Faced with this dilemma, Japan chose a third, incredibly audacious option: a secret plan to wipe out the American threat in the Pacific in one single, decisive blow. Now, make no mistake, the U.S. Pacific Fleet was a formidable force. They had more battleships, more anti-aircraft ships. Japan, on the other hand, had the edge with aircraft carriers. But their real advantage wasn't in the numbers. It was the element of complete surprise. Their fleet traveled nearly 8,000 kilometers across the Pacific in total radio silence, getting ready to strike a sleeping giant. And the attack was so swift, so brutal. The first wave hit at 7:57 a.m., bombing for 45 relentless minutes. After just a short 10-minute lull, a second wave swooped in to finish off any survivors. In just over an hour, the heart of the U.S. Pacific Fleet was in ruins. The scale of the devastation was just immense. In a single morning, all 8 U.S. battleships at the harbor were hit, and 4 of them were sunk. The very core of America's naval power in the Pacific crippled. And on the airfields, it was the exact same story. Over 300 American aircraft were destroyed, many of them before they could even get off the ground. In just a matter of hours, the sky and the sea belonged to Japan. But amidst all that chaos, there were heroes. Let's go back to Doris Miller, the cook we started with. When a torpedo hit his ship, he first carried wounded sailors to safety. Then, with absolutely no training, he manned an anti-aircraft machine gun and started firing back at the attacking planes. He became this incredibly unlikely defender. For his extraordinary bravery, Miller was awarded the Navy Cross. That's the highest honor the Navy can possibly bestow. A cook who, in a moment of unbelievable crisis, became a warrior. So Japan had won the battle, no doubt. But in doing so, they had basically awakened a furious America. That surprise attack plunged the U.S. headfirst into a long and absolutely brutal war.
America declared war the very next day. And what followed was 4 years of just brutal island-hopping warfare all across the Pacific. Battles became bloodbaths because Japanese forces fought with this fierce no-surrender mindset. By 1945, even though they were pushed back to their homeland, Japan's leadership was defiant. They were preparing their entire population to fight an invasion to the last person. The potential cost in lives for both Americans and Japanese was projected to be astronomical.
So, by August 1945, America faced a choice: a costly, bloody invasion of Japan, or deploy a secret, newly tested weapon of unimaginable power. They chose the weapon.
On the morning of August 6th, a lone American B-29 bomber appeared over the city of Hiroshima. It was carrying a single, terrifying payload. The bomb, which was codenamed Little Boy, weighed 4,400 kilograms. It was the world's first atomic weapon ever to be used in combat. Exactly 43 seconds after it was dropped, it detonated. An enormous fireball raised the ground temperature to 5,000 degrees Celsius. In less than a single minute, 80% of Hiroshima was simply gone. You would think that would be it, but Japan's leaders were stunned, and still, they did not surrender. So just 3 days later, America sent another plane. This bomb, Fat Man, was even heavier, at over 4,600 kilograms. Its target was the city of Nagasaki.
And the result was the same. A second Japanese city was erased from existence. Faced with this overwhelming and horrifying power, Japan finally announced its surrender. The Second World War was over.
And this leaves us with the question that has echoed through history ever since. Was this a necessary evil that actually saved millions of lives by ending a brutal war? Or was it the moment humanity unleashed a new, terrifying kind of fear upon the world?